Hello, everybody. It's Harry from UploadVR, and I'm here with Ricardo from Anotherway, of course, the studio behind Unplugged on Quest and PCVR if you have an index. Ricardo, thank you for being here. It's lovely to talk to you about such a amazing, innovative game like Unplugged. I'm a big fan.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a lot of work, so it means a lot. Thanks.
There's a lot to go through with Unplugged, but I guess for those who perhaps don't know, if you haven't tried the game, it is basically air guitar in VR on Quest. It uses hand tracking, so you make shapes with your fingers and strum with the other hand. A little bit like Guitar Hero, but changed and slightly different for VR. The first thing I want to talk about is how the game came to be, because I remember seeing a while ago now. I think it was you came up with the concept originally, right? And then I know
Yep.
Vertigo games came in later on, but originally you just came up with the concept. How did
Yep.
that kind
Yep.
of start? Where did this all kind of come from?
Actually, I imagined the concept back in 2015, like in the first Vive headsets and the first Oculus SDKs. I remember being in a concert in Prague, and I was just like doing air guitar in the concept, like woo. And at some point, I was like, oh, this is an interaction that could work in VR, like in the middle of the concert. And I was like, oh, maybe we can just rotate the guitar like this, and then you strum the guitar, and maybe there are notes coming to the guitar neck or something like that. And I was like, interesting. So as soon as I went back home, I prototyped something, and all this with controllers, with the first Vive, I think, or Oculus SDK, well, one of two. And it totally worked. It was like, oh, this is good. This is something that we could actually turn into a game. Then I started thinking, because I'm obviously a huge Guitar Hero fan and Rock Band, maybe we can turn this into Rock Band for VR. And maybe we can add drums and vocals or something like that. So I created a prototype. It was called Rock the Stage back in the day. I quit my job and I started working on that. And I spent 4 months working on the prototype. And I think that it was pretty good. There is a video online that I can share with you if you want. But it looked pretty good. It was fine. And the best thing it was that it made you feel like you were there. I was
Yeah.
good. But obviously, creating a music game is a lot of work, especially with the music licensing. You need a lot of money. You need like a team of people handling all that music licensing. And I didn't have all that back in the day. So I decided at some point to go back to my job. My old job was super good because it involved AR and VR. And my company back in the day, like, they wanted me back. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
fine. I wasn't ready to start my own company and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, in 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, I was just bored at home. And I remember that Oculus just released the hand tracking system. And suddenly it came to me like, oh my God, I could actually rescue that old prototype and try if it works using hand tracking. And so I did, and it worked flawlessly. It worked so well. And I was like, oh my God, this is actually something. Now it makes total sense. Because back in the day with the controllers was nice, but with hand tracking was exactly what it should be. I put together a demo, like a nice demo, a nicer demo, just with the guitar. I created a little video and put it on Reddit, and it exploded. People really liked the idea. I put it on Twitter as well, and people were like mind blown by that. So a few game publishers contacted us, and it was like, we are interested in funding this project. So yeah, we had a couple of discussions with a few of them, and we decided to go with Vertigo because they offered the best deal, and also they were bigger, and they really had a super nice vision about what the game should be. Because, in the beginning, I wanted this game to be very indie, like very small with
Yeah.
just indie music, that kind of stuff. But they had a very big vision of the game. And to be fair, at first I was a bit scared about it because it was like a super big project. We didn't have a
Yeah.
company together. It was complicated. But yeah, we went with them and we managed to release it, which is a super big deal.
Yeah. It's quite amazing because I remember seeing that first video and the reaction. I think we covered it. And I remember thinking, that looks really cool, but I don't
Mhm.
think it'll be as fun to play as it looks like it is. And also, the music selection, it'll live or die on the music selection. There's not music I want to be playing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have as much fun in it. And then I remember hearing about the Vertigo coming on board, and I was like, okay, that's a big deal. Even then, I was still like, I'm not sure how big in terms of music scope there will be. And I remember reading the track list and when that eventually came out and being like, oh, wow, these are really big rock songs and from a whole bunch of different bands as well. It
Yeah,
wasn't just like
yeah.
a few. So that was like super impressive. What I was surprised to hear you say is that when you first tried the hand tracking, that it just you were like, and it worked. It really worked, because to me, the final game, all I've ever thought is, wow, this must have gone through so much testing and tweaking, and also there must be some kind of workarounds that are being implemented to make this feel better than it actually is, or
Mm.
almost work around the technology. Was it simply like, oh, the hand tracking is good enough from the get-go for this to work? Or were you
Yeah.
actually from the start putting in workarounds and programming things to compensate?
So first of all, full disclaimer here. Yeah, when I tried the first prototype, it wasn't flawless. Obviously,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
worked good enough. So the thing is, all my career, or for most of my career, I've been a prototyper. So pretty much someone comes with an idea or with a problem, and I designed a little solution for that, but it's not fully there. And back in the day, I was working in Microsoft in the HoloLens team. I'm probably the most skeptic person about hand tracking, at least in
Yeah.
Microsoft. In the first version of the HoloLens, I don't know if you have tried, but you hand tracking, but just like the blob. So it's just the
Mm.
hand, not the fingers. So I
Yeah.
remember the first time that I tried the HoloLens, it was like, oh my God. And suddenly I see that there was no hands, just blobs, just two little icons. And I was like, oh, disappointing. And
Yeah.
then with the HoloLens 2, it was a bit better, but the lag between your movement and the hand was very big for a lot of technical reasons. So when I first tried the Quest hand tracking, I was very skeptical because the Quest hand tracking is just using RGB cameras. That's super complicated stuff. But the thing is, it actually worked. And when I put it on the prototype, it wasn't perfect, but I thought that it was good enough for me to start polishing the experience. So I knew
Yeah.
that with a bit of work and a few algorithms on top of the hand tracking, I could make it work so it's a good experience. Obviously,
Yeah.
in the first version, in the V1 of Unplugged, I think that the hand tracking was pretty good. We spent a lot of time polishing the hand tracking issues in order to make the experience good. And we had to make a lot of design decisions because the hand tracking doesn't work perfectly well. For instance, if I move my hand now, like you see, it's not
Yeah.
perfect, but I think that they're like, it's good enough for you to make design decisions to make the experience good enough. And that's what
Mm.
we did in Unplug. Actually, we are using a lot of algorithms. The latest one that we added to the game is an AI. So we are using deep learning in order to see where your hands should be, or what's your pose, or what's your intentions. All that stuff we made. So when there is a problem with the hand tracking, there is another layer trying to help and trying to make the experience as smooth as possible. And I think
Mm.
that so far we did a good job. In the first version, it was absolutely playable. Obviously, it wasn't perfect, but it was playable. And I think that we proved the idea, or we proved the fact that you can actually create a hand tracking game that use hand tracking very intensively, and you could have a game. But we've been working all this month also on the hand tracking. We've been also working with Facebook, with the Oculus in hand tracking 2.0 in order to polish everything and make the game flawless. And I think that now the experience is very good. Like once in a while, we still have some players that don't have a good lighting, or they have some problems at home and it doesn't work fully well. We're still working on trying to provide a better experience for these guys. We want the game to be fully accessible for everyone, obviously. But I think that for 98% of people, the game works very well. And
Yeah.
I'm really proud of that because we put a lot of effort into making the experience as good as possible because we understand the limitations of the hand tracking. From the very beginning, our obsession was to understand how the technology is limited and try to polish that stuff. That was like the very first thing, not the graphics, not even the gameplay. Actually, Even like we had to change the gameplay a little bit to adapt it to the limitations of the hand tracking. So the guitar is a bit smaller than it should be. As you see, you're always looking to your hand. That makes the hand tracking work very well because your hands are always present in the game.
Moving them around like
exactly. If you
heaps,
do this, like you suddenly like your hands are not there. So we had all these limitations in mind in order to create the gameplay. So yeah, it's been my obsession. I'm a UX designer, so for me, the main important thing on anything is the user experience. So I know that if the experience is not good, the whole game won't work or the whole experience will be shit. And we didn't want that.
It almost doesn't matter because there are clearly several avenues you could have taken with gameplay, but it didn't matter. The gameplay almost came second because you're like, what can we do first? Then we'll figure out what game we wrap around that. Well, we
Exactly.
can't, like, even though there's a fretboard, you never move up and down the strings like you would in a real guitar, right? Because it's not, there's no way to do that. Let's talk about hand tracking 2.0. Actually, I want to talk about that. So that was, for me, really almost felt like a brand new game. I think it worked really well originally, and I enjoyed playing it. And I was one of the people that was like, if you put effort into making sure you have a right kind of environment, lighting everything well, the game works pretty well at launch. For most people, it should be great. But ever since the hand tracking 2.0 update, for me at least, I've just found I haven't had to put nearly as much effort into thinking about lighting, thinking about looking, like you were saying, how you're looking at your hands. When I used to play at launch, I had to be very specific. Okay, I'm trying to keep both hands like in view and look at the center, because I would find the strumming would get lost if I look too much at this hand. Whereas now it just seems like I look wherever I want downwards and it picks everything up. Is that accurate when I say all that stuff? Is that all stuff that you looked at and went, yeah, all of this is going to get better in terms of lighting, in terms of positioning of the hands? What were the biggest improvements for you? What did you see that you went, okay, this is good enough that we're going to remap the whole game?
So I would say that hand tracking 2.0 is especially good with a fast movement. So now if I move my hands really quickly,
because this isn't hand tracking 2.0. Yeah, this is still the standard one, and you can see that it's not as...
Yeah, and in the beginning with hand tracking 1, we had to be very aware of your movements. So we had to create the mapping, so the music charts, in a way that, like always being aware of the limitations of the technology. That caused a big problem in the previous version of the game, where the notes weren't completely fully following the music. And a lot of people were complaining like, oh, it doesn't like follow the rhythm. And we knew why, but we couldn't do anything about it because the hand tracking was very limited and you couldn't move your hand that quickly. But with hand tracking 2.0, it's not a problem anymore. So we had another problem. Suddenly we didn't have a limitation, but we had charts that were limited by the previous technology. Recharting the whole game, like the 25 songs, no, actually 30 songs, was a lot of work. And we weren't sure if we had to do it or not. It's like a lot of work. But we decided in order to provide the best experience, we had to do it. So we spent a lot of time recharting everything to the new technology. And I think that now the new charts are way better. They are way more fun because you can totally feel that they follow the music. They follow the music as it is. And now, because we are using this new technology, you can actually move your hands super quickly and the notes are following the music completely fine. Now the immersion is way better. Yeah, so I would say that's the biggest improvement for us.
I went back to it after the update and it felt a lot more challenging, and there was a higher skill ceiling. Like hard, suddenly I remember playing hard at launch, being like, okay, and then I played at hard levels again, and there were some tracks where I went, no, I've got to go back down to normal and work my way back up to hard because it's suddenly gotten like there's more notes, there's more going on, it's more for my brain to process. So I think that was really interesting too. It actually improved the skill ceiling of the game without it being more frustrating, because that frustration of losing tracking or something going wrong was completely gone. The other thing I was going to ask too is what size team do you have now? Like when you started making this prototype back before Vertigo came on board, was it just you at that point working on the game, or were there other people as well?
It was just me, and then my wife entered just like being a PM because we were having a lot of emails. We had to work
Yeah.
with a lot of people and have a lot of meetings. So she was
Yeah.
doing that. And once we got the funding, we put together a little team that's still there. We are 6 people now, which is not a lot. Very recently, we had the opportunity to grow a little bit, but we decided to stay small. I've been working in Microsoft for most of my career. That is a very big company and it's amazing. But I really like working with just a very small amount of people. It's a
Yeah.
very creative environment. We are like a family. We have a lot of internal jokes and a lot of things. And I really like that. And so far, we're doing well. So, yeah, we decided just to stay the way we are for now and get working on the new features. I think that we are more than enough. And yeah, like we are 6 people
Yeah.
now. So,
Yeah.
hi, everyone, by the way. You're probably there. So,
So those 6 people are all with Anotherway, is that right?
yes,
Yeah.
I'm the director. Yeah. Our relationship with Vertigo so far it's been very positive for us because they had a lot of expertise. And I worked in VR like for a long time and game development and such, but it's just development. And so we didn't know a lot about advertising or marketing, like how do
Mm.
you like partnership with other companies. We didn't know about that. And they were like experts on that topic. And they also had a lot of ideas, like again, like they had a very big vision of the game. And in my mind, I'm very conservative in terms of adding
Yeah.
features because I know that anything you add to a project, it will
You've got to
create a lot of
maintain.
problems, a lot of bugs, a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they pushed for more stuff. They wanted more music, they wanted more venues, they wanted more quality on the game, and they've been always pushing for that.
Yeah.
And I think that in
Yeah.
general, the game would have been way smaller without Vertigo. And I'm really
Mm.
glad that we ended up like working with them.
When they were talking to you about coming on board, it was part of their pitch to you, like, we can bring some big name artists and big songs, or was that something that just happened later on? At what point did you realize that you were going to have Weezer and some of these huge bands in there? When did
Oh
that kind of
yeah.
happen?
Oh yeah. Again, in the very beginning, we were like, oh, we are just going for small bands. We actually ask around in Twitter and in Reddit
Yeah.
about, indie bands that might be interested in join the game. And then when we signed up with Vertigo, they were like, no, like indie bands are cool and we will have a few, but we need famous bands. And we were
Yeah.
like, oh, but that's going to be super complicated because I've worked in another music game and I know that music licensing is super complicated,
Yeah.
like very complicated, very expensive, because there is no website or some service where you can just
Yeah.
like pay for these songs and just use it. There's nothing like that. You actually have to reach every single person that is related to one particular song. And sometimes there are like 7 people, and you have to
Yeah.
call them, you have to make a deal with them, explain the game. It's a very time consuming process. And I knew that. So, not even in my wildest dreams, I would have dreamed about having Wizard or a Tenacious D, Offspring, or Aussie.
Yeah.
All that was super complicated to get. And I remember the first big song that we had was Offspring, and we were just like jumping, like, oh my God, we made it. Like somehow we got Offspring.
Like, this is it. We'll put that game out with the one song. That's good enough.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
Vertigo at first, they sent us like a Spotify list, like, hey, can you put here whatever music you like whatever music you feel that it should be in the game? And we were like, wait,
Whatever
what?
music.
Yeah. So actually, there's one thing that I'm really proud, or the most exciting thing regarding music that happened, at least for me personally, was the song Roadie.
Yeah.
This song is the one that I used in the first prototype that I told you in
Mm.
2015 because Tenacious D is a very special band for me. I really like it. And I really like this song in particular because it worked very well. And I have listened to this song so many times because I was working with that song in the first prototype. And for me, it was a very special song. But at first, we struggled to contact with Tenacious D. And at some point, we were like, okay, we cannot make this song happen. So we will have to move on. But we got Marcus Henderson from Guitar Hero into the team. And he was like, guys, leave it up to me. I'll make it happen. So somehow he contacted the manager of Tenacious D and started talking to them. And he made that happen. So at some point we had the song, And I got super excited about it. The problem was that the song has a lot of swearing. Every three words is like fuck or something, like swearing, a lot of it. And we were Peggy 12. So, and at another point, we were like, okay, we have the song now, but we cannot use it because we're Peggy 12. So we have to take it out from the list. And we were like, oh my God, no, I really love this song. So somehow, and I really don't know why, like maybe the stars were in a particular position that night, but Marcus made it happen. Tenacious D re-recorded the song for us without swearing.
Really?
And I was,
well, I mean, I was going to say, I didn't even notice any censorship or anything when I played it. I wouldn't have even known. I know the original song, but not that well. So yeah, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, it was insane. Knowing that my favorite band re-recorded the song just for the game, it's insane. It's just like amazing. Yeah. And a lot of people have complained about the fact that it's a different version of the song without the swearing. But I'm so proud that, to me, it's even better because it's our song.
It's your version.
It's insane.
Yeah. That actually brings me to another thing that I wanted to ask about. And I don't know if this came at the same time as hand tracking 2.0 or a bit before it, but there was the change that was made so that if you miss the notes, the track cuts out, which didn't used to do at launch. If you stuff up something or you stop playing, the guitar part won't play on the track anymore. What was the reason that wasn't there at launch? Was it a technical thing of trying to figure out which parts you would isolate the parts of the track? Or was it just something you didn't think needed to be there and then later on you went, okay, we're going to add this in for more immersion? Was it like a technical problem or something else?
Yeah, it was a limitation on the hand tracking. And
it was related to the hand tracking.
Yeah, again, like our obsession on the game is not the graphics, it's just to make the hand tracking work well. So because hand tracking, I think it is the future, which is really strange for me to say, because when I was in Microsoft, I was like an advocate for controllers. In Microsoft, they are all about hand tracking, but I was like, no, guys, we need controllers. Controllers are great. And now I'm saying the exact opposite thing. But I do think that hand tracking is the future, at least for most of the apps that are going to appear in 5 years or so. They're going to be hand tracking, like for sure, because it's so much easier. Even now, we are having this conversation, and the fact that you can see my fingers and
it's expressive
and all this, this adds a lot of value. And I think that hand tracking is here for good. So I wanted to create something that works for real. It wasn't just another demo. It's just like something that works. So it's been my obsession. So everything that we have done, every limitation on the game, something that you like, because a lot of people have asked, like, hey, why did you do that this way instead of this other way that is more obvious? If we didn't do it, it's because it didn't work well. And we had to roll back into something simpler. And I even have to say that sometimes we have pushed hand tracking too much. For instance, our menu, you have to grab the albums and you grab it in a, let's say, creative way. And then you have this menu, like you pass the songs like that. We could totally have done just like a 2D thing and you just tap on whatever you want, like in the Beat Saber kind of stuff. But I also wanted to explore, like, hey, hand tracking is more than just like tapping things on air.
It is like a menu where you can grab things and you're using, there's very few buttons that you push, really. It's all.
And to be fair, that's a very risky decision, because I know that our menu sometimes is a bit frustrating because it doesn't work like full. Sometimes you have to grab things twice because it doesn't fully work 100% of times. And it's a bit frustrating, but also I think that is really cool. I think that it feels more natural. The menu, the way you move and the way you go around the app, I think it feels very natural. So yeah, I know that this wasn't your question, but
no, that's okay. That's okay. I think the one question I have to ask, and you might not be able to talk about it, I'm not sure, but my mind always has gone to, obviously hand tracking at the moment is camera based, obviously because of Quest. But we know that Facebook are developing, or Meta, I should say, developing the wrist BCI interface stuff. Is that something that you have experimented with Unplugged and seeing how it works? Or is it something you've even thought about? Because I can imagine if you had that, not only would it make it more accurate, but you could do much more complex stuff in terms of being even more like guitar. Is that something that you've thought about or played around with or anything like that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. In general, I think that whatever makes hand tracking more accurate and more immersive is a good thing, for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say the problem because it's not a problem. But I would say that the cool thing about hand tracking is that you don't have to use anything. And I think that's amazing. Maybe if you had a little watch or something, that would be fine because a lot of people use a watch and you can wear it all day and you don't have to think about it. I think that in general, in order to provide a good experience, you don't have to let the user think about it. And that is a good experience because in nature, you don't have to put your hands on in order to touch something. Your hands are always with you.
Yeah.
Or if you are going to grab a can of Coke, you just go and grab it. You don't think about the interaction, you just do it. So app for whatever makes the interaction more natural and more seamless. In the future, if we are going to wear these things like all the time and it's going to be always there and we don't have to think about it, awesome. But if we have to actually put something on whenever we are going to play a game or something like that, in that case, I will say that I don't think that's going to happen. I would say that in terms of the experience, hand tracking has one big problem. It's the fact that you don't feel anything. Like I have something here, but I cannot feel it because it's just virtual. It's not there. And with controllers, you have haptic feedback. Vibration adds so much to the experience that I really miss it when you're using hand tracking. So yeah, like in one way, hand tracking is great because you don't have to think about it. In other ways, it has certain things because hands touch things. That's the main thing that hands do. So even though when you see something in the computer or in the VR and you are grabbing it with your virtual hand and you can see that the interaction is taking place,
but you don't
it's
feel
good.
it.
But that is not how it works in reality. In reality, you don't use your eyes to interact with your hands. You use
Your touch,
your
your sense of
touch.
touch, and
And I think that's one of the main problems with hand tracking interaction, because like we don't even realize that when you are interacting with something in nature, you don't use your sight, you use your touch. You don't look at the can that you are going to grab. You feel it. And I think that's very important. And we don't have that. I don't think that's something that we will be able to fix. But I think that kids that are actually using hand tracking nowadays, they're going to be more visual than what we are now, because they are going to get more used to visual feedback rather than touch feedback. Maybe or not. I don't know. That's what I think.
The only thing I can think that being really useful for as well is if you had haptic feedback when strumming and you could tell that you had made a strum, because you can tell, but if I could feel the strum, just a little buzz,
it
that'd
is
be
so
a
much better.
huge, or just a buzz on both hands when I hit a note. But as you say, that's a very hard problem to, I don't think that'll be happening anytime soon. It's a whole different, set of problems.
Yeah, the first time we tried the Haptics gloves, we were mind blown.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. And they go on your hands and they give you like not force feedback, but it's like a vibration.
It is a vibration, yeah. I would say that the gloves are very simple. And in the future, hopefully we will see more advanced technology. But just the vibration in the tip of your fingers, it's insane. It adds so much value to any hand tracking experience. I think that they did very well. And they were like very smart by thinking about creating this device. And I think it's going to become very popular. The only thing that I would say is that because you have to wear the gloves, it won't be for every experience. It would be like, okay, I want to use whatever experience. So I want to play this game for a couple of hours. So I'm going to put the gloves on. But in your everyday usage, you won't use them. But yeah, in terms of an experience, they are amazing. And I can't wait for the next version that we are going to see in 5 years or so, where you have like something more complicated than just vibration.
I'm sure it'll be like not even like a glove at that point either. Who knows what it'll be then.
Yeah.
I guess that's almost everything I wanted to ask. I guess the last question I'll leave you with is, obviously, when you started Unplugged, you never imagined it being, such a massive game like this with some of your favorite artists and whatnot. It's amazing how far it's come. What's the future of Unplugged from here in terms of over the next year? And then where do you see it going in like 5 years' time? Because I think it is a game that's going to stick around,
I
or
see.
it could be iterated. What do you think is the short-term and long-term future of Unplugged?
Yeah, so I'm afraid that I cannot talk too much about it because Vertigo will kill me.
Maybe in vague
But
terms. In vague terms. Yeah.
yeah, like I'm gonna say in the short term, we are going to release a DLC very soon. It's gonna be focused on just one band, and I think it's gonna be huge. It's a great band. It's like a very big band, like metal, because a lot of people have been asking for metal. We want metal in the game, and yeah, like it's gonna happen very soon in a few weeks. I think that 2 or 3 weeks, so it's gonna happen very soon. Then we are also working on an accessibility update. We want more people to play the game. We want to put it in more platforms. And in general, we want the game to work better for more people. Like, for instance, we're going to add the colorblind thing that you asked for.
Thank you. That was awesome.
So we are adding that there. And along with another thing that is going to be really big for the game. It's going to be a huge change on the game as well. So this is like the very short-term features that we want to add on the game, and we are working towards that now. But in the long term, I cannot talk too much about it, but our plans are very big. Unplugged is going to become bigger, at least in terms of features, in a way that like we will add more stuff to the game. I mean, I can tell you, but
you can't tell me.
It's
but
like,
that's
it's really good. I would be very excited about Unplugged if I knew what's going to happen. So I'm saying that probably like in a year, Unplugged will be very different. It will have way more stuff in it. That's it. That's all I can say. Obviously, more music. We are working to add more music all the time. We want to add free music, not just DLC. We want people that has the normal game to have more music there and bigger music. Also, I want to add more indie music because I think there is a lot of really good indie music out there, and I think that it's great to also play this kind of music. So we also want to put indie bands. So guys, if you have an indie band and you want to be in Unplugged, just ping us and we will be happy to talk to you. So yeah, that's pretty much it. The Unplugged is going to move forward, that is for sure. We are not staying still.
Lots of plans, it sounds like. Thank you very much for joining me. It was lovely to talk about the game. Congratulations on all the success so far. I think it's a really, innovative, amazing thing on Quest. But thank you for joining me. I appreciate the talk.
No, thank you. Thank you very much for having me. And can we high five in
VR? We can, yeah. Woo!
Oh,
yeah, bit
awesome.
of a laggy high five. But yeah, there we go. It's good enough. Yeah.
All right.
No, cool. Awesome. Okay. Thanks very much. All right.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Talk soon.
See ya.